We are going to continue on with Chapter 19. We just finished bacteria in Section 1, so now we're going to take a look at viruses here in Section 2. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is, what is a virus? So a virus, we've mentioned this word before, but maybe not have given an official definition. They're particles of nucleic acid, and nucleic acid is just meaning DNA or RNA, protein, and in some cases lipids, and remember lipids are fat. And then viruses can reproduce only by infecting living cells. So there's a big debate on whether or not viruses are alive or not alive, but we will get into that more in class and maybe let you make your own decision for yourself. So some more kind of introduction information about viruses. They will differ widely in terms of size and structure, so meaning that no two viruses really are the same size, and they have a very different structure. A lot of them are made up a lot differently. We'll take a look at a picture of some of them. However, all viruses enter living cells and use the infected cell to produce more viruses. So this is one big thing that all viruses have in common. They enter living cells and they use the infected cell to produce more viruses. And so we talked about how they can vary in structure, so now we're going to take a look at what is the structure of a virus. So here are some pictures of 3 different viruses and how different they actually look. So this first one, a bacteriophage, we examined this. Remember when we talked about transformation and DNA, and this was the virus they used to actually kind of figure out that DNA caused transformation to occur. So this is one structure of a virus, almost a little spaceship looking thing that we talked about. And the next one is known as a tobacco mosaic virus. Again, this infects the tobacco plant, and as you can see, it has a very different structure. It almost looks like just the base of the bacteriophage. And then we have the influenza virus, which is going to cause what we know as the flu, and that again, that's more circular. It has another completely different shape than the rest of our viruses here. So they can just vary. They can vary widely. However, they do have some things in common. First one being that they have what are known as capsid proteins, and capsid proteins bind to receptors on the cell surface, and they trick the cell into allowing it inside. So they kind of attach to the cell. They tell the cell, hey, we're here to help, but really they're here to infect and kill the cell. And once inside, viral genes are expressed, so the genes from the virus are expressed, and the cell will transcribe and translate them into viral capsid proteins. Remember, transcription and translation going from DNA to RNA, then from RNA into protein. So that's how they basically do that. They just put in their DNA and they make their own viral proteins. And the host cell may make copies of the virus and be destroyed. So basically, the virus will use the cells to make more copies of themselves, and then eventually they destroy that cell. So they're making more viruses and they're killing the host cells. And most viruses are highly specific to the cells that they infect, meaning that they all kind of have a certain target. Like the influenza virus isn't going to go attack our stomach or anything like that. It's just going to mainly affect our respiratory system, our lungs, and our areas like that. And one example that they give, which we have already heard this term before, is viruses that infect bacteria are called bacteriophages. Again, we might think that that's a bacteria just because it has the name in it, but it is actually a virus. And so the next part we're going to look at, which is going to kind of transition into our next video, is how do viruses cause an actual infection. So that's how they actually go about harming us. Viral infection. So once the virus is inside the host cell, 2 different processes can occur. So the first being the viruses will replicate, and that will replicate immediately, which will kill the host cell. So again, it's almost like an instantaneous death. They make more copies of themselves and at the expense of the host cell. And others, however, will replicate, meaning they'll make more of themselves, but they do not kill the host cell immediately. So these ones will make more copies of themselves before they actually decide to just go off and kill the host cell. And here is going to be kind of a breakdown of the types of infection that we have. There's either 2 different things can happen, the lytic infection or the lysogenic infection, and we're going to take a look at those in our next video. So that's it for this one. Let me know if you have any questions.